In this project, we are working with a healthcare dataset stored on GitHub. First, we will create data ingestion pipeline, which will ingest this raw data from GitHub to Data Lake in this raw container. Next, we will use Azure Data Factory to actually clean and transform that data and then save the output file to Azure Data Lake in this processed container. After that, we will load that transform data into an Azure SQL database, okay, for analytics purpose. And then finally, we will connect our data from Azure SQL database to this Power BI and create some interactive dashboards and reports. If you can hit a like to this video and comment anything like thank you, good night, hi, hello, anything you want to comment. That's gonna make me feel better and I will really appreciate that. For this project, Thor is going to be our student who will ask us many questions related to this project so that you will get better understanding. And the most important thing you will need is Azure free account. Okay. So on the Google you have to search this Azure free account, then or directly you can go to this link, you can copy paste in your browser, then click on Azure free, then you will enter your Microsoft email, then you will fill all the details and sign up. After that you will come to this portal.azure.com and you will enter your credentials. Okay. Now Thor is asking where is the dataset for this project. So don't worry, I will provide the dataset link in the description. Next step is you will have to upload all the dataset to the GitHub account. Okay. So as you can see, I have created this repository of front-end healthcare dataset. Then I have created this data folder and inside this I have already uploaded the dataset which we are going to use for this project. So you can do the same. The steps are given here. Okay. Now Thor is asking, in this project I will use many Azure services. But after the completion of project, I will delete them to stop the costs. Okay. Otherwise I will have to pay the huge bill. But I don't want to delete the services one by one. I want to delete them all at once. Okay. So how can I do this? What is the answer? So you will have to create a resource group in Azure so that you can group all the services in that resource group. Okay. And when you want to delete all the services, you will just delete that resource group. Okay. No need to delete the service one by one. So that's why we will create this resource group. So let's go ahead. Search in our Azure portal. We will search the resource group, resource groups. Create, select your subscription, then enter your resource group name. Health for me, I will put healthcare project RG. RG means resource group. Paste. What is the issue? Okay. I have entered white space. empty blank space. Okay, you don't have to do that. So just backspace, and now it will accept. See, when you will copy from these nodes, that time many times it can happen. Okay, it will copy the blank space as well. See, so just put the cursor here and blank space, press backspace. Region will be East US. I think that's it. Next, create. Yes. Review and create. Next, next, create. Okay, so our resource group is created. See, if you use my notes, I have arranged all the topics systematically. Okay, folder by folder. Especially if you can use this navigation option in Microsoft Word like this here. Okay, so I have arranged all the topics folder by folder. Now Thor is asking, in Azure Data Factory I am currently working on multiple projects, so I need separate space for my separate project. So how can I do that? And the answer is, we can create a separate workspace for separate project. So let's quickly do that. Search data factories, data factories. Yes, this one. Actually, I have deleted this. I don't know why it is still showing. Okay, so now I have deleted my earlier data factory workspace, so that we will now create new workspace for this project. So you can search data factories here. Create. Select your subscription. Select the resource group which we created earlier. What is the name of your ADF workspace? Name would be Healthcare Reporting ADF. Paste. Region is East US. Next. 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 Now we can create. Okay, so our ADF workspace has been created. Now Thor is asking, I know you are using some sample dataset for this project, but where will you store it in Azure? Answer is simple, in Data Lake. But where in the Data Lake, in which folder, in which container you will store? Okay, so for this we will have to create this storage account. So in Azure portal, search storage account. Let's go ahead. Storage account. Okay, I have already searched it. It's present in history. So let's go there. Storage account. Storage center. Not storage center. I want storage account. Storage account. This one. What? Why it is sending to storage center? Let's try again. storage account. Okay, I think it is storage account only. It has been renamed to storage center. Let's create a resource group is the same. Select the subscription. What is your storage account name? Let's copy it. Storage account name. Healthcare reporting DL. DL means data lake. Paste. Region will be East US. Preferred storage type. You can keep this empty. Performance standard. Redundancies. We will select locally redundant storage because we don't want much cost. Basically it is cheap, so we will select LRS. Next, hierarchical namespace. We will have to select this is most important thing. This is what separates Azure Blob storage with Data Lake, because in the Data Lake we can create folder within folders. Okay, so that's why we will enable it. Now it has become Data Lake. Hierarchical namespace is tick. Access tier hot. Next, access tier is hot. Next, public network access enable. Public access enable. Okay, review plus create. That's it. It is validating all the information whether it is correct or not, and now we can create. Okay, so our deployment is completed. Our storage account has been created. Now Thor is asking, you said you will store transform data in Azure SQL Database, but do you have any workspace for that? Answer is no. Currently we don't have, but we will create one. Okay. So where is the home page? Let's go to home page. Click on create a resource. Search Azure SQL Database. This one. Close. Azure SQL Database. SQL Database. Azure SQL. Which one is Azure SQL Database? It's very confusing. SQL Database and Azure SQL. Scalable and manage relational database for modern business clubs. Create and manage SQL Server resource from a single view. Let's check in my notes. SQL database. Okay. we will select SQL database, not Azure SQL. Create SQL database. Subscription is this resource group. We will select our healthcare resource group. Database name healthcare DB. Copy paste healthcare DB. Okay. Currently we don't have any server, but we will create one. What will be the server name? Healthcare OT SRV. OT stands for often train. My YouTube channel name. Okay. Healthcare OT SRV. Paste. Okay, it is not supporting in East US, so we will select West US 2. West US 2. Authentication method is SQL authentication. Authentication method is SQL authentication. What will be the admin login and password? Admin will be John the Don. John the Don. It's a funny name. Password is John Cena @ 246. Okay, it has accepted this. Click OK. Now we'll continue creating our SQL database. Elastic. Where were we? Here. Okay, database name server is created. Do you need SQL data? SQL Elastic Pool? No. Workload environment is development. Compute plus storage. I think we will configure that. Service tier will be basic. Configure database. Service tier we should select basic. It is very cheaper. DTU data max size GB will be 2. It is already 2 GB. Okay, apply. 2 GB storage is enough. Backup storage redundancy is LRS. Okay. Actually, we select locally redundant backup storage because it is very cheap and it is like it does not create backup of our database in multiple regions. Okay, multiple regions or multiple data centers. That's why if you want your backup in multiple zones in multiple regions, then you can select these other options, but they are costly as compared to LRS. Okay, that's why for practice projects we will always select this LRS. And then networking. Next, networking connectivity with method will be public endpoint. Allow Azure services and resources. Yes. Add current client IP. Yes. So select yes here and yes. Connectivity policy is default. Encrypted connection. Keep it as it is. And then you can directly click review plus create. Review plus create and create. So our deployment is complete. It took around 4 to 5 minutes. Now we will just check our Azure SQL database is properly working or not. Okay. So we will go to resource. We'll go to our Azure SQL database and then we will go to this query editor. Our login username is John the Don. And what was the password? John Cena at the rate 246. Okay. Continue. Confirm. Okay. It is logging in properly. But now we will try one system query as well to check whether queries are running or not. Select star from system.all objects. Man, this copy, paste, remove this bullet. I will remove the bullet from here as well because this is code. And now just run. This should work. Okay, it is running properly. Now Thor is asking, we want to store both raw data and transform data in data lake. But how will you store both raw data and transform data without mixing it up? Okay, so he's asking how you are going to differentiate raw data and transform data. So the answer is, just like in our laptop we can create folders, in data lake we can create containers. Okay, so we are going to create two containers, raw and processed. So the raw data we will store in raw folder and transform data we will store in processed folder. Okay, so let's go ahead and create two containers. So let's go to your storage account. Let's go to our resource group first. This is home page. So in this resource group, we will have one storage account for our data lake. That will be this. Now, we want to create two containers. Go to data storage container tab. And then we can create two containers. First will be, click on add container. First container will be raw. Create. Second container will be processed. Processed. Okay, so that's how we can create containers. So we have created two containers, raw and processed. We know that for transformation we are using Azure Data Factory service, and for storing raw data and transform data we are using Azure Data Lake, or we can say storage account. So on these topics Thor has one question. We know that ADF means Azure Data Factory cannot directly read or write in the data lake. Okay, it needs some authentication and detailed information for storing. Okay, so it needs a way to authenticate and detailed information about the data lake. Detailed information means it will ask format of the file, it will ask storage system, it will ask folder name, it will ask file name. Okay, so we need linked service and data sets for that. I will repeat one more time. What is the answer on this question? We will create linked service for authentication and we will create data set for that detailed information which it needs. Okay, that's how Azure Data Factory and Data Lake will communicate using linked service and data sets. Now Thor has some follow-up question. For this data ingestion pipeline, how many linked service and how many data set will we need for data ingestion? So answer is we will need two linked services and two data sets. Okay, we know that we are reading the data from GitHub and we are writing in data lake. Okay, so one authentication for linked GitHub and one authentication for data lake. So these are two linked services. And how many data sets? So we know that we are reading from GitHub, so we will need detailed information, so we will create source data set. Okay, that is first. Second, we are writing in data lake, so it will need detailed information, so we will create one more source data set, sorry, destination data set, or in Azure they use one word called sync data set, source data set and sync data set. So if you are getting confused, just look at this one more time. For reading and writing data in data lake, it will need way to authenticate and detailed information. So for authentication, we will create two linked services and the detailed information we will provide via data sets. One for source data set and one for sync data set. Okay. Source data set is GitHub because we are reading the data from GitHub. So HTTP data set we will create. And one for destination will be data lake. So we will create data set for that as well. So let's get started. I hope you are not getting bored. I'm repeating it so many times because this linked service and data sets are very important. These are like the foundation of the data engineering projects. You are gonna use it a lot of times. That's why I'm repeating so many times. So let's create a link service for GitHub. ADF Studio managed app, link service new. Okay. So ADF Studio, where is our ADF Studio? This is data lake. This is our resource group. This is storage account. So from our resource group, we'll open our ADF workspace. So launch studio. Now manage tab. See, everything is mentioned on the notes. Okay, so if you get these notes, this project is gonna be very easy because nobody remembers. Once you execute this project after looking at video, if someone asks you question 1 week later, you will remember nothing. So that's why it's better to get these notes and store it in your laptop, so that whenever you need, you will just open that Word file. Manage tab, link services, new. We are creating link service for GitHub. So for GitHub we use HTTP. It's a HTTP connection. What is the name of your link service? Name will be, you should use this naming convention, okay? Because at the end of the project you will get confused. Too many names will be there. So LS means linked service. You can just follow the naming convention which are used in this project in real companies. Okay, so name is this base URL. So what is base URL? We are creating link service for GitHub. Okay, so go to your GitHub repository. Actually, I have mentioned here. See, base URL is this. You will go to GitHub repo. You will go to your data folder, and then you click on file name. Then click on raw and till.com. You can copy the address. See, we are in our data folder. Open the file. Click on raw and till.com. That's going to be our base url.com/. That's it. Copy. Where is ADF Studio? Yeah, just paste here. Okay. Authentication type. Authentication type anonymous and test connection. Anonymous. Yeah, test connection. And then create. So first link service you have created. Now second link service will be for your destination, which is Data Lake. Exactly. We will now create a link service for destination. So new destination is data Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2 ADLS. This is our data system. Now continue. Name will be this link service Azure Data Lake Storage and your project. Use this naming convention. Authentication type will be anonymous. No. Keep it as it is. Account key. Storage account name will be whatever you have created. Select your subscription and your storage account name is health reporting DL. DL means data lake. This is our data lake. Our destination. We are creating this link service for destination. That's why we are selecting our data lake name. Test connection to link service and test connection. Connection is successful. Create. This way, our two linked services are created successfully. I'll repeat one more time. Link services are used for authentication. This link service will be used for authenticating HTTP means GitHub, and this link service will be used for authenticating to data lake. Okay. Authentication is basically used when two different services try to communicate with each other. That's why they need authentication. All right. Now to create our data ingestion pipeline, Azure Data Factory wants to read the data from GitHub and it will write to Data Lake. But first, It is trying to read the data from GitHub. So Azure Data Factory is asking this much questions. What is the source system? What is the type of file? Which linked service for authentication? And what is the URL of the actual file? So all these questions Azure Data Factory is asking to read the data from GitHub. So that's why we will need to create this source data set, not data set. So in ADF Studio author tab, we can create the data set. Author tab, click on these three dots, new data set. Data system will be data store will be HTTP because we want to read from GitHub. Format of the file is CSV. Name of the data set, we will use the standard naming convention because we are going to have 5 to 6 data sets. So you should not get confused. Paste. Patients record raw data, CSV format, HTTP data system. Select the link service which we created for HTTP. Now it is asking for relative URL. So relative URL is as specified on the notes. Everything after .com/. I will show you. Just go to your GitHub repository. We will have to paste the relative URL of this file. Okay. So open this file, click on raw and everything after .com/. Okay. So copy. This will be our relative URL. Copy and not here. Paste in your ADF Studio. Paste. First row as header means first row is your column heading. So tick this. Import schema is none. Import schema none. So create. So you have created source data set and linked service is created as well. So now Azure Data Factory can authenticate with GitHub and read the data from GitHub because linked service and source data set is ready. Now we will create the second data set for data lake. ADF will try to write to data lake. Okay. So for authentication, our link service is already ready. Now we will create one data set for destination, which is sync. Now ADF is asking, ADF will ask all these 4 questions. What is the type of destination system, type of file, which link service for authentication, and the folder path or container where you want to write in the data lake. So to answer all these questions, just create one data set for data lake. New data set, source type will be data lake because we are writing to data lake. Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2, this one. Format of the file will be CSV. What will be the name? Link service, where is the name? This one. See, dataset, name of the dataset, raw container, CSV format and data lake. That's why always tell you to follow this naming convention. You will never ever get confused with these names. Select the linked service for data lake, and inside the data lake in which folder or file you want to store. So we are storing in raw container. So select that. Inside raw container, but do you want to create one folder? Because while ingesting, if your file is big, it may create many partitions. So you should always use folder. You should always ingest in the folder. What is the folder name? Patients record. So you can write here only full directory raw patients record. What is this fucking A? Give full directory raw patients record. Let's paste here folder name. Okay, raw container folder name. Here you can store. Okay, so actually I corrected my notes. Full directory path will be like this: raw container in this folder and the file name. You can also decide the file name in the destination. So I want my ingested data to be named like this: patients record.csv. So copy patients record.csv. Okay, this is the container, this is the folder inside container, and file name. First row as header, first row as header tick, import schema none, and okay. And okay. So your destination dataset, sync dataset is also ready, so that Azure Data Factory can write in Data Lake. Now Thor is asking, you have done all the preparations and all, but how will you actually execute data ingestion pipeline? How will you move the data from source to destination, from GitHub to Data Lake? How you are going to actually execute all of this? So the answer is, we will create one pipeline and we will create copy activity that's actually going to move the data from source to destination. Okay. So what is the name of our pipeline? Let's create our pipeline. See, click on these three dots, new pipeline. What is the pipeline name? Just copy paste. That's why we are creating these notes, to speed up our work. Because these name, if these names and all are not ready already, then you are going to spend a lot of time in thinking about them. So that's why you should prepare this. You should prepare your homework before actually going ahead for creating a project. Okay. So these notes will definitely speed up your learning process. Paste. This is our pipeline name. Then we can just hide this property box. Then what? What is the name of our activity and what is the type of activity? Activity is like a engine which will actually move your data from source to destination. So just create your activity, drag and drop to canvas, give a name to your activity, Copy patient's record data. That's it. Then in the source tab, we will select our source data set because we have actually already created them. So we will just select now. We don't need to create it again. So go to source tab, select your source data set. I have already told you why we create data sets and why we create link service. Source data set, what is your source? GitHub. So select this HTTP. Go to sync tab. Sync means destination. What is your destination? Data lake. So select this data lake dataset. And I think that's it. You are all set. Now just we will debug. So what it will do now after executing this pipeline, it will actually move this file from GitHub to data lake. This file from GitHub to data lake. This one in raw container. Okay. So this is, we'll check that. First execute our pipeline. You can hide this, you can hide this as well. Now you can debug. So it will take some time. You can refresh here. If you want, you can check the logs as well, but I am confident that it will be executed successfully. That's why I won't do that. Succeeded. It took just 18 seconds. And now I will actually check it whether it has ingested data or not in raw container. Okay, so this is our data lake or storage account, and now we can check raw containers raw. What? Man, it has given me error. No worries, we'll solve it. So guys, it was not the error. It was error, but not from my side. It was from system side. I did nothing, just refresh. Go to your containers. Don't directly open this raw. First refresh. Okay. Now if you check the raw container, see patient's record folder name, and this is the ingested data. So you have successfully created a data ingestion pipeline which will read the data from this GitHub and write to your data lake raw container. Congratulations. So let's quickly summarize what we did in this data ingestion pipeline. So Azure Data Factory basically wants to read the data from GitHub. So it will need to authenticate to GitHub. Okay. So that's why we will create link service for authentication. Also, Azure Data Factory will need some additional information like the file name, folder name, format, etc. So we will create source data set. Okay. Now how it can write? It wants to write to data lake. So Azure Data Factory wants to authenticate to data lake. For that we will create link service. Also it needs some additional information about the data lake like file system, folder name, file name, format. Okay. So for this additional information, we are going to create sync dataset. And then finally, we just created pipeline for execution and the activity inside that pipeline, which will actually copy the data from source to destination. And then we just clicked on debug. That's it. Not a big deal. Bro, I forgot one most important thing. You need to publish it as well. Otherwise, all the changes will be lost. So this notes saved me actually. I was going ahead, but I just read this publish all. So I will quickly publish the changes. So where is our ADF Studio? Yeah. So you just click here, publish all, and publish, so that your work is saved. If you want to take a break, you can take a break. You can close it all. And when you visit tomorrow, this pipeline will be still there. Okay. Publish is done. Now Thor is saying your raw data is present in raw container in data lake. But how will you perform transformations using Azure Data Factory? So answer is we'll use data flow. So let's create new data flow. ADF Studio author tab. Okay, my ADF Studio is this Azure Data Factory. Yes. So go to author tab. Click on these three dots in front of data flow. New data flow, and the name would be this df transform patients record. So let's add this name. All right, so we have created new data flow for the transformation of our raw data. Now Thor is asking, how will data flow know on which file you have to perform transformations? The answer is we will add a source object to the canvas. And we will give this name patients record source to the output stream. So just click on add source, give this name to its output stream. Okay. Now we need the source file on which we have to perform transformation. So again Thor is asking, we know that Dataflow cannot directly read the file from Azure Data Lake storage. So how will this work? I have already told you, whenever any service tries to read or write data from different service, so we need two things: linked service for authentication and source dataset or destination dataset for extra information like file name, folder name, format, data system. Okay. So in this case, data flow will try to read the data from Azure Data Lake storage. I will show you. This data flow is trying to read the data, raw data from this data lake. So we again need dataset and linked service. Source type is dataset. We will have to create new dataset. Data store will be data lake storage gen 2. Okay, our raw data is present here. In which format? CSV format. Now give it a name. DS raw patients record. And I think for authentication we already have link service for data storage, sorry, data lake. We created this at the time of data ingestion pipeline. Okay, when we ingested the raw data from GitHub to data lake, that time we have created this link service. Now you can give file path to our source file, which will be in raw container in this folder, and this CSV file. Import schema from connection store. Okay, and test the connection. Connection successful. Now we have turned on this data flow debug, so we can limit the row size. So I will change it to 2000. 2000. Okay, save. Now you can go to projection tab and you can detect data type, and then finally you can fetch the data. Projection tab. Now you can detect the data type. Okay, so it has fetched all the data type, sorry, which will be mostly correct. Not mostly, it will be correct only. Okay, we can make mistakes, but this low code ETL tool will not make mistake. Now go to data preview tab and refresh. So if all the data is fetched here, that means you have successfully brought your source file to this data flow, and then you can finally start performing transformations on that source file. All right, as you can see, all the rows are present. So now we have source here. On this we can perform transformations. Now Thor got one task from his manager in the company. He is asking, bro, my manager is saying that from our source file I have to do two things. My manager is saying that we will only process Europe's data. And then he's saying that we have to ignore the rows with missing country code. Let me show you. This is our source file. So Thor's project manager is asking that we will only process Europe's data. So currently, as you can see, in the mainland, all the data is here: Asia, Europe, America, Africa, everything. Okay, but His manager is asking, we only want to process Europe's data. And then he doesn't want to process the data with missing territory codes. Okay. It doesn't want to process the data where the territory code is null. So we can definitely do that. Actually, it is not country code, it is territory code. So I will fix it later, but as of now. So what is the answer on this? Which type of transformation is best suited for these conditions? For filtering. Basically, we want to filter Europe data, and we also want to filter the rows where the territory code is present and not absent. So answer is filter transformation. So let's quickly go ahead, click on plus on our source data card and give this output stream name filter Europe only. So on this card we have to click plus. Where is filter? This filter. Now you can give the output stream name to filter Europe only. Okay. Incoming stream will be this. So what is the incoming stream here? This data is coming from this source object. That is called incoming stream. This incoming stream is patient's record source, means this source data which we created in last step, our raw source file. Okay. Now filter on, click the input field, expression builder will open and then you can put your expression. Filter on, just press here, click here and open expression builder. And here you can give your expression. Which filter expression? Expression element is input schema. So click here, input. Expression values is mainland. This one. Otherwise you will just copy paste. That's why we have created these notes to save some time. So just copy paste. Expression is, I don't want this italic. So expression is where mainland is, filter all the rows where mainland equal to Europe, and this is the first one, and second one is filter all the rows where territory code is not null. Okay, these were the tasks which were assigned to Thor by his project manager. So these are covered in this expression. So let's quickly copy, paste, allow. Okay, so you take care of these codes. You remove these codes from MS Word and we can give codes separately here. Okay. Then we can just copy these codes so that you will not have to face this issue. paste. See, these codes are corrected now. Now we can save and refresh. Save and finish. Then we can go to inspect to check all the column names, column headings with the type. And then we can go to data preview and refresh to check all the values, row values. Refresh. Okay, it has fetched data. Now check our condition is satisfied or not. See, first condition was we will process only Europe data. So mainland is just Europe now. We have filtered the Europe data. Second condition was we will ignore the rows with missing territory code. So territory code is not null here, okay? All the territory code has values. So that's how you can give any condition, okay, for filter. So this is just an example. That's how we can perform filter transformations. Recently, Thor has been working really hard in his company. So he got couple of more tasks. So let's check. So his first task is his manager wants to delete 3 columns. Mainland, amount 10, test units. Let's check these 3 columns. So he wants to delete mainland, amount 10 day, and test units. Okay, these test units. And then he want to rename test unit to unit. He wants to rename test units to just units. Okay. So here, what what type of transformations we will use for column related operations, because we are deleting 3 columns and we are renaming 1 column name. So answer is select transformation will be a best fit in these conditions. And we will use rule based mapping as well, because see, this is the rule test underscore units. See, I will show you. This is the rule where column name is test underscore units and we want to map it to units, just units. So rule based mapping. So let's go ahead. Click on plus icon of our earlier transformation card, which was this filter Europe only. Then select transformations. Oh, that's funny. Select transformation and give a output stream name. New stream name would be select only required fields. select. Okay, that's good. And you know that the transform data is already coming from this filter Europe only card. So our incoming string would be this filter Europe only. And then input columns equal to turn off auto mapping. See, in this input columns, auto mapping is already turned off. Okay, because we are mapping as per our requirement. We don't need auto mapping. Now we can directly delete our required column names. Mainland, amount and day. See this mainland delete, amount 10 day delete, test units and ingestion timestamps. Test units, we will rename it later. Okay, we are just temporarily deleting it. We will rename it to just units and we will bring back the data again. So as of now we can delete this and ingestion timestamps. We also want to delete this column as well. Okay, ingestion timestamp is also deleted. Now we want to use some rule based mapping. Which rule? The rule is the name should be test underscore units, and which mapping? We just want to map it to units. So this is rule based mapping. So let's do that. Add mapping, rule based mapping. We will enter expression builder. What is the rule? Name equal to test units. Just take care, it will throw error. Take care of these quotes. Matching condition is paste name equal to test units. This is the rule. Now as I already told you, it will throw error. Single quote. Okay, it was hiding this title. Name equal to this. So this is the rule based. Now we want to map it to just units. So I think it is units only. Yeah, this is just unit. But I want to correct this quote issue, otherwise you will also face error. Name equal to test units. Paste. See, these codes are changed now. Copy and paste. Not. Okay, you will not get the error there. And that's it. You can save and finish. This is called, I will repeat one more time, this is called rule based mapping. Rule is where the name is test underscore units, mapping is just units. So we are renaming this column. Save and finish. Inspect tab. Now we can check this column name in inspect tab, and then we will just fetch all the data using refresh. So inspect tab is this. So units is present. See, test underscore units is gone. Now only units is present, and now we will fetch all the data. Input column is test underscore unit. So you can also check this. It has been renamed from this to this. Now click on data preview tab. And we can now click on refresh. It will fetch all the refreshed data. It will delete 2-3 columns which we have mentioned, and it will rename test underscore units to units. See, it has deleted the mentioned columns and test. See, test underscore unit is gone. Now it is only units. So it is working absolutely fine. So for such cases, you can use select transformations. Whenever you have to make changes like rename the column name, delete some column rows, or change some column name, that time you can use select transformations. And yeah, one more condition, whenever you want to rearrange these columns as well, that also that can also be performed in select transformations. Let's say you want this is valid record at the first rank, then you can use that. See, the thing is, we can actually practice many more number of transformations. Many options are present here. I will show you. See, all these are transformations only. But I don't want to make this video too long, so I will stop here, and finally we will write this transform data in data lake. So Thor is asking, data flow cannot directly read or write transform data in data lake. Okay, it needs some additional information and way to authenticate. Actually, we have already discussed it many times. It cannot directly read. It will need a way to authenticate, and we will use linked service for that, and it will need some additional extra information like file name, folder name, format, file format, sorry, and data system where you want to write. Okay, so we will need linked service and dataset for that. Okay, so let's go ahead. We have transformed our data. It's time to write it in an output file. Click on this last transformation here, plus sync. We will have to, just like we have created the source object first, we will have to create sync object. Sync. And just give the name, output stream name to patients sync. See, each and everything should be meaningful. Okay, so we are writing this transform data. The file name was patients underscore record, and sync means destination. That's why we are using this naming convention. Best sync, patient sync. Incoming stream would be this last one. Select only required fields, the select transformation which we performed, and sync type would be dataset. And as discussed, we will have to create one. We will need one linked service for authentication and one dataset for which will give additional information. So let's create dataset. First, let me check, do we have any dataset for a transform file? See, inside these datasets, you can check all the datasets. Raw patients record, raw patients, everything is raw. We don't have dataset for processed data. So I think we will have to create one new dataset. New. Let me confirm with my notes as well. Yeah, we will create one new dataset. Dataset name would be DS processed healthcare. Select the data store. We will write the data in Data Lake. Azure Data Lake storage Gen 2. File format is CSV. Dataset name I have just copied from my notes. DS processed healthcare. We have already created link service for authentication at the time of data ingestion pipeline. So we will use the same link service. DL stands for data lake. And now where you want to write your process data? Inside the processed container. See, we have raw and processed. So inside this process container we will write we will create directory like this. Inside process container we will create one healthcare folder, and inside that we will create one more folder, processed healthcare, and after that we can write the file. Browse processed. Okay, now inside directory we will write this healthcare folder and processed healthcare. Copy. We can also write the file name, but we will keep it empty. First row as header true, import schema none. Okay. Now in settings tab, we will clear the folder first. So let's say if inside that process container, if any data is already present there, we will clear that, and then only the newly transformed data will be written there. That's why this option is very, very important. We must clear the old data. If you want to mix it with old data, that's your choice. Then you don't take this, but I want to clear. So I will clear the folder. Data preview tab and refresh. So first let's check your data. See, this is our final columns with data types. And just fetch all the final transform data which you want to write. validate, publish all, publish. See, our final data looks like this, which we are going to write in our data lake in transformed container. Alright, this is fine. Now I will just publish all. Publish. So our work has been saved. Now Thor is asking one question. We have done all the preparation. We have dataset, source dataset, which will read the data from source file from raw container in data lake. Okay, and on that source file we have performed transformations using data flow. Okay, we have seen couple of transformations. Then he's saying we also have the sync dataset, which will write the data, transform data to data lake in processed container. But how these transformations will get executed? Okay, how it will actually execute? So we know that the answer is we will have to create a pipeline, an ADF pipeline, Azure Data Factory pipeline, to execute all these steps. And inside this pipeline we will use data flow. So let's do that. Just create one pipeline and give this name. Copy. Where is pipeline option? 3 dots. New pipeline. Just give this name. PL healthcare data. Okay. Now we will just drag and drop our data flow to canvas. I think we need to edit this. Data flow option existing. Just 1 minute. Data flow option. We don't need to go to move and transform. We can directly drag and drop like this. This is our data flow. We will just, this is our pipeline tab. We will just drag and drop here. Just hide this property box so that we will get more space. And then we will just debug. Okay, it's finally time to debug. So now the raw data will be transformed and will be returned to this processed container. So let's debug. So our pipeline has been succeeded. Now transform data will be written in this processed container. So first refresh. Now we can check. See this healthcare folder, processed healthcare, and this is our transform data. You can also check that. View, edit, preview. See. Okay. So our pipeline is successful. Now as written in the notes, we will just publish our changes. So click on publish all, publish. So your pipeline is also saved. So yesterday Thor did one mistake. So his manager scolded him a lot. Actually he forgot to remove one column and he has already created and run the transformations pipeline. So Thor was really worried. So he is asking, is there any way he can fix his issue? Is there any way he can perform that remaining transformation even after running the pipeline? So answer is yes, definitely. We will perform the remaining transformation and run the pipeline again. How? I will show you that. Don't worry. So go to ADF Studio and click on your data flow name. And data flow debug should be turned on. So this is ADF Studio and here we will click on our transformation, data flow transformation. Alright, and data flow debug is already enabled. Now we will click on the second last transformation, which is select transformation. So last transformation is seeing transformation. We have to ignore that, just click on the second last. Okay, transformation, which is select transformation. We have clicked on it. And then see, as you can see, this date column he wants to remove, and yesterday he forgot that. But no worries, even after running the transformation, you can still edit that. You just have to fetch the refreshed data, latest data you have to fetch here also. Let's say if you want to perform transformation here, then you will perform transformation, then you will fetch the latest data here, then you will have to fetch here also, all the way till your sync transformation. Okay, but we want to perform transformation here only, so we will just fetch here and sync will receive it. Okay, so you have to fetch till wherever you perform transformation, you just have to fetch till the last sync transformation. How will you fetch? Data preview, refresh. First perform the transformation whatever you want, and then data preview and refresh. So we will do that. In select transformation, we will remove the date column which we want to remove, delete. That's it. Now we will fetch the updated data. Okay, done. Now check whether the column is present or not. Okay, so date column has been removed. Now go to your sync transformation, fetch the latest data here as well. See, click on sync transformation card name, fetch the data, then click on the pipeline name and then run the pipeline one more time. Okay. Select the pipeline which you use to move the transform data in this process container. Because you have two pipelines, you have data ingestion pipeline as well, so you don't have to run that. You just have to run the one which you use to transform the raw data to process container. So the latest data has been fetched in sync transformation as well, and date column is not here. That's it. Now we will click on the name, click on the pipeline, transformation pipeline, and then we will debug. Then raw data, wait, we'll go to storage account. Go to containers. As you can see in the process container, we have earlier transformed data. But after running this pipeline one more time, this earlier data will be replaced by the latest transformed data. Okay, where we have removed date column. So which was that pipeline? See, this is the ingestion pipeline. We don't have to run that. This transformation pipeline we have to run. So simply we will click on debug. Now this will clean the earlier data from the process container and it will be replaced by this newly transformed data. See, our pipeline has been succeeded. Now we will just check the process data is latest or not. So first we will refresh. Now in this file, date column should be removed. View, edit. Click on preview. As you can see, date column has been removed. So the old transformed data has been replaced by the newly transformed data. Now Thor will be tension free because yesterday, because of his mistake, he got scolded and he was really worried that he can fix that issue or not. So you don't need to worry at all. You can fix any transformation whenever you want, wherever you want. Okay. Then you just need to run the pipeline again. That's it. Now Thor is saying we have stored transform data in data lake, but there we have couple of issues. We cannot properly query that data in data lake. Also, we want to use this transform data for analytics in Power BI. So that is also not possible if the data is all only present in data lake. So what is the answer? We will have to write our data to Azure SQL Database. Okay, similar to MySQL, Workbench, or any relational database. So there we can easily query the data, and also that is better fit for analytics. So let's Go ahead. So we will use copy activity to copy the data from data lake to Azure SQL Database. So we'll select our data flow and we will click on sync transformation. Okay. So go to your data flow and click on sync transformation and then go to inspect tab. So this will be our final table in Azure SQL Database. So you can check the columns and data types here in inspect tab. Okay. Because we'll create empty table to load the data. First we'll have to create empty table in Azure SQL Database. We'll see that. No worries. So we have our Azure Database Workspace in resource group. We know that. So just open this in new tab. So this is our resource group and this is our SQL database. All right. Now let's check the notes. What are the next steps? Okay. So now Thor is asking, Azure SQL Database is a secure database service, right? It does not allow anyone to access it without authentication. Okay. Anyone in our company cannot access this data because data piece is like a very confidential thing. No one should, everyone shouldn't be able to access it. Okay. So we will use authentication. So how can we access it? Okay. We are not anyone. Okay. We created it, so we will access it. Answer is we will authenticate using username and password, which you already know, which we created in earlier steps. Then we can create and modify the data in database. Okay, then we will have all the permissions if we authenticate using username and password. So in query editor tab, we will have to enter the login and password. So where is query editor? This. Now we will authenticate using login name and password. So login is John the Don. Password is, I'll have to check. Open this navigation and just check in the left navigation. So in setup all the workspace, we had created this Azure SQL database. So my password should be here only. Server name. See, admin login John the Don, and this is the password. So this is the main advantage of these nodes. Every information will be present at one place. Okay. You won't have to run here and there to get the information. Everything will be at one place. So just copy it. Copy the password and just paste it here. Okay, and now log in. Logging in as John the Don. This antivirus is very secure. We have successfully logged in. Okay. So where were we? Copy data to Azure SQL database. Here. Okay. Enter login and password. Now again Thor is asking, We cannot directly store the transform data in Azure SQL Database. Okay, because it does not create tables automatically. Then how will you store it? Answer is we will manually create table. What if it does not create? We can create tables. We will manually create tables, define the schema, and then we will store the transform data in the table. So if you are getting confused, in simple words, we are just creating an empty table so that we can load the data. That's it. And we will give column name, data types, just that's it. Okay, I will repeat one more time. We are just creating an empty table in Azure SQL Database so that we can load our transform data into it. That's it. Not a big deal, very easy. So in your laptop, we'll create this new file, create healthcare tables.sql, and then we'll write the following code. I can explain you this code. Actually, I have already created the SQL file in my laptop. So we'll just understand it now. So first here we are creating one schema. Schema is nothing but a folder. Within that folder, we will create one table. Okay. So how we can create schema name dot table name. So our table name is patient's record, but we will use this full table name. Okay. Whenever we want to query this table, we will have to use this complete name. And these are nothing just column headings and their data type. That's it. This will be an empty table and where we will load our transform data. So let me check where it is present. It will be present on my desktop. I know that. So let's go ahead. And after creating this file with this code, you can just switch to Azure SQL Database and open query. So let's do that. Where is SQL Workspace here? Not here. So here we'll have to click open query. Let me check. Open query, yeah. Now let me close this code. Open query, browse desktop, and this is my code file. Create healthcare tables.sql. Open it. Okay. Okay, you can see this now. All this code will be present here. And now we just have to run this. Run. Query succeeded 1 second. And now just refresh it. Our table should be present in tables. All right. Our table is present with all the fields which we have given here. Now Thor is asking, we have created a table and schema inside Azure SQL database. Now what is the next step? What to do after that? The very first step will be, we'll create the pipeline and which will load the transform data in Azure SQL database. We already know we cannot, no matter how much preparation you do, we cannot execute anything without a pipeline. Okay, that is very compulsory. So go ahead. In ADF Studio, By the way, I did not publish these changes. That was a big mistake. Publish all. Publish. Whenever you perform any transformation and you execute the pipeline, always remember to publish the changes. Otherwise, your work will not be saved. Now we will create a pipeline. New pipeline. What is the name? PL equalize healthcare data. See, if you have observed one thing, my pipeline names or dataset names or linked list names all are very meaningful. Done. Now we have created pipeline. Now Thor is asking, inside pipeline, how will you actually move the data from data lake to Azure SQL database? So we know inside the pipeline, if we want to move the data from one place to another, what we use? We will use copy activity. Okay. Copy activity will move the data from one location to another. It will move the data from data lake to Azure SQL database. By the way, data lake, but inside the data lake in processed container. Our transform data is present in processed container. Okay, so just drag and drop the copy activity. Give it a name. Copy healthcare data. Paste. Okay. Now you already know whenever you want to, whenever Azure Data Factory wants to read the data or write the data from any external service like Data Lake or GitHub, it will need two things. It will need a way to authenticate, which is we will create linked service, and it will need some extra information, which will be dataset. Extra information means file name, folder name, file format, etc. Okay, so it wants to read, Azure Data Factory wants to read the data from data lake process container, and it wants to write the data to Azure SQL database. So we will need two linked services and two data sets. So just go ahead. First we will create the data set for source, which will be process container. I think we already have it. We'll check, no worries, whether we have source data set for process data or not. Check in this list. Patients record raw, no. Patients record raw, HTTP, no. Yeah, DS processed healthcare. Actually, we already have this data set. So I am able to remember this. I am able to identify this because of this name. Okay, it is processed healthcare data. This one. Now similarly, to write the data in Azure SQL database, we will need link service for authentication and source dataset. So seeing tab, create new. We don't have dataset for Azure SQL. Okay, so we will have to create that. Seeing tab, new data store will be Azure SQL Database. Not this one, Azure SQL Database. Continue. Database dataset name will be this SQL Healthcare. Link service also we will create. We don't have any link service for Azure SQL Database. We have link services for GitHub and Data Lake, but we don't have for SQL Database. So that we will create. Just copy the name of the link service. New. Paste. Account selection method from subscription. Select your subscription. Server name this, the server which we created earlier. Database name healthcare DB. Let me check in notes. Server name is correct, database name is correct, authentication type SQL authentication, and we will use username and password. How many times we need, man? Username and password. John the Don. Okay, no worries, we have notes, we can get it as many times as we need. Creating SQL database. See, username is John the Don. Password is this. I think that's it, but still we will check the notes. Now where were we? Copy data activity healthcare data here. We were creating link service for Azure SQL database. Yes, here. Authentication type. We are creating link service. Now we will test the connection. I hope everything is correct. Connection successful. Now create. Link service is done. Now table name. This was the complete total name. You remember? This is the schema name dot table name. Import schema from connection and then OK. From connection store and OK. So our source dataset and sync dataset is ready along with the link services. Now Thor is asking, how can we tell ADF to write all the files from that specific folder or specific containers? We know that our transform data is present in process container in data lake. Okay. So wait, I will show you. See, in this process container, our all the transform data is present. As of now, it is only one folder. Inside that, we have one file. But what if in the future multiple folders are there and inside that multiple files are there? So that also we want to write in Azure SQL Database. So how can we enable that? For this, we will go to source tab and we will put the file path type equal to wildcard file path. So let's do that. Go to source tab and file path type equal to wildcard file path. So that means in process container, if in future multiple files are there, that will also be written in the SQL database. That's it, nothing else. Now Thor is asking, I will load entire dataset to Azure SQL database. So I don't want any old or outdated data. Okay. How can I make sure before the load table is empty or clear? So Thor has one requirement from his manager that whenever he will write any new updated transform data in the Azure SQL database, sorry, he does not want any old data or outdated data. Okay, because obviously he wants to save some storage. If any old data is not of any use to him, why would he store it and pay the price in the bill? That's why he want to clear the old outdated data. So for this we can clear the table with a pre-copy script. Okay, before writing any new data, just before loading any new data to SQL database, we will just truncate the table. Truncate means clear the old data. So in the seeing tab, we will just write this script. Truncate table name. Okay. If you are getting confused in the table name, you can just refer from here as well. Okay, this is schema dot table name. This is full or table name. So just in the seeing tab, just paste it. Copy, sync, inside pre-copy script, just paste it. Okay. We will give this, and I'm not sure whether we have to use this colon, but we'll use it. That's it. Just debug now. Now let's debug our pipeline. If everything is successful, then the transform data from this process container will be written in this database. As of now, it is just empty database. We created these fields, but data is not loaded. After this successful execution of pipeline, data will be loaded there as well. So I will debug. It has failed. No worries. We will check what is the error. What is the message? Failure happened on seeing side. Cannot find the object healthcare reporting patient's record. I got it. It does not exist, or do you have any permissions? Okay. Mistake is here. Our table name is incorrect. See, instead of dot, I have used underscore. So that's why we should copy it from here only. Table name. Copy. No worries, you will not get this error. I am correcting it. All right. Hmm. So in the sync tab, we have to change this table name. Just paste it. Okay. Now I think it will not give the error. Let's try one more time. Debug. All right. Congratulations. Our hard work finally paid off successfully. Okay. Our pipeline is successful. Okay, our pipeline is successful, but Thor is asking how can we actually check that data is loaded in SQL table or not? Okay, in SQL database, data is loaded or not? How can we check that? Simple. In SQL query editor, we can query the table for testing, and we will use our favorite query select star from table name. This is the simplest and my most favorite query select star from table name. So let's copy it. Query editor. Yeah, we are already in the query editor. And we will write our query down here. Paste. Oh, we don't need this bullet point. It is just a code, bro, not a bullet point. Yeah, now it is fine. Just remove the bullet from point from here as well. Just select and run. So we should get the data. Yeah, all right. We have the data. Our pipeline is definitely successful. Okay. We are able to fetch the data in Azure SQL Database. Finally, we will just publish all the changes. So just click on publish all and publish. Now finally it is time to connect our Azure SQL database to Power BI so that we can create dashboards and reports. So first step is we will have to download Power BI desktop. So on Google you can just search this download Power BI desktop and you can download that. I have already downloaded it, so I'm not going to show you the whole process. And then you will just open the Power BI desktop and open blank report. All right. So first we will get the data from Azure SQL database in Power BI desktop. So you just open your blank report like this, and then just follow all the steps which are mentioned in my notes. So click on get data, which is present in the top bar. Okay, now from this list we will pick this Azure, and from right side list we will pick this Azure SQL Database, first one. Then we will click on connect. Okay, now we have created one SQL server. Okay, so that we need to pass, but in the Power BI format like this. See, this is our server name. We have created this at the time of creating Azure SQL Database Workspace. Okay, but in Power BI format you will have to enter this .database.windows.net. So the full name you will have to enter like this. This is our server name and this is the format. So just copy, paste. Database is optional, but we have created this, so we should enter this. Healthcare DB is our database name. Data connectivity mode would be direct query, and then just OK. And after that we will select database from left side list, and then we will enter username and password. From this left list you just click on database, then enter username and password. Let's say John the Don is our username. Paste, and password would be johnson@246. That's it. I hope this would work. If it doesn't work, we will make it work. Okay, it has to work at any cost. Connect. And we will see our table, and then just we have to click on load. Where is our table? Yes, exactly. It is working perfectly fine. So I think this is our table. This one. System firewall rules. I don't know what is it, but this is our table. Healthcare reporting. This is our schema name, and patients underscore record is our table name. So we will now click on load. So our data will appear here in the data pane, right hand side. Okay, as you can see, our data is available here and all the columns are present here. Finally, it's time to create some visualizations in Power BI. But it's not a Power BI tutorial, so I'm not gonna create some detailed report and all. I will just show you 3-4 visualizations. That's it. Okay. So first is show first batch ID using card visual. Okay, you remember we in database we have batch ID column. So in the report, if we get a task to show the very first batch ID or very first customers or very first batch of patients, so we can show that. We will use card visual, and in the field we will just pull the batch ID. Okay, so where is card visual? This one. And we will just pull batch ID in the field. That's it. This is the first batch ID of patients. Now second is show percentage of accepted cases and not accepted cases in all the countries in pie chart. So we will bring pie visual and we will put legend as mark. Means inside marks we have accepted cases and not accepted cases. And inside values we will put count of countries. So where is pie chart? This one. Bring the pie chart. Then in legend you can put mark column. Where is mark? This one. Just drag and drop in legend, and then we can show the value count of countries. In values you will bring count of countries. Okay, so in our healthcare data 45% are accepted cases and 54.8% are not accepted. Accepted cases means which patients are admitted and which are not. Okay, that's it. Third visual would be show percentage of X. Man, this is second. Third one is count of country by origin in donut chart visual. So bring in donut chart. Legend equal to origin and values equal to legend equal to origin. Value equal to count of country. Okay. So 48 percentage of patients data is coming from this digital surveillance source. Okay, origin means source, and 51 percentage of patients data is coming from this health map data source. Okay, these are the two sources from where we are getting patients data. Got it? And this is count of country means in 55 countries we are getting this data from digital surveillance origin, and in 58 countries we are getting patients data from this health map. That's it. And then finally we will just show the country with their codes in the table, simple table. So just bring table and in the columns you will just put country and their territory code. Okay. So France territory code is FRA, Germany is this, Italy is this. We are just showing the territory code in this table visual. That's it. If you want to practice, you can create some more visualizations, but I'll keep it simple. Now Thor is asking, finally, my project is completed. To stop the cost, how can I delete the entire project? Okay, so he doesn't want to delete the service one by one. He wants to delete an entire project. Okay, so we know that we have created a resource group. We'll just delete that resource group. That's it. All the services are grouped in this resource group. So just from home page, we'll go to our resource group, and then from top bar we'll just delete the resource group. It will delete all the services. Delete, copy, confirm the deletion by typing the name and delete, confirm. Okay, so after like couple of minutes it will delete the entire project and you will not be charged further. So your resource group has been deleted. It takes a lot of hard work to create such long projects. So if you can hit like and comment on this video, so that's gonna really motivate me to create such long projects.